Here is what the meat industry does not want anyone to know. Every steak, every chicken breast, every protein shake derived from whey, they are all just expensive, inefficient middlemen. Because here's the truth that will make anyone question everything they thought they knew about nutrition. Animals do not create protein. They harvest it. And today, the exploration reveals 7 plant sources so protein-dense, so nutritionally explosive, that they do not just compete with meat, they obliterate it. This is not about ethics. This is not about environmentalism. This is pure, hard science. And the numbers are absolutely staggering. Number 7. Sun-dried tomatoes. The dehydration revolution. The journey begins with something that will blow minds because of how deceptively simple it is. A fresh tomato, 95% water, less than 1 gram of protein per 100 grams. Basically, nutritional wallpaper. But here is where it gets wild. Take that same tomato, slice it thin, lay it under the Mediterranean sun for days. The transformation is remarkable. As the water evaporates, something almost alchemical happens. The cellular structure collapses in on itself. The nutrients compress, concentrate, weaponize. 14 grams of protein per 100 grams. That is not a typo. That shriveled ruby red piece of concentrated sunshine now has more protein, gram for gram, than salmon, than cod, than most commercial fish. But there is more hiding in this crimson powerhouse. The same dehydration that concentrated the protein also supercharged the lycopene, a cellular guardian that researchers have linked to cardiovascular protection and anti-cancer properties. And here is the fascinating part. This transformation is not some modern food science innovation. Ancient Mediterranean cultures stumbled upon this biological hack purely by necessity. They needed to preserve their harvest through brutal winters. What they discovered was that preservation did not just extend shelf life, it fundamentally restructured the nutritional architecture of the food itself. The Italians were not just making pizza toppings. They were engineering nutritional density through the oldest biotechnology on Earth, sunlight and time. Number 6. Pea Protein Isolate. The yellow split revolution. Everything people think they know about peas needs to be reconsidered. In their whole form, sure, they are respectable. 5 grams of protein per 100 grams. Grandmother was right. Eat those vegetables. But when food scientists get their hands on dried yellow split peas and apply mechanical sorcery, 80 grams of protein per 100 grams. Through precision milling and liquid separation, they strip away the carbohydrates, the fiber, the filler, leaving behind pure, concentrated botanical muscle fuel. This is not some inferior plant substitute. In double-blind clinical trials, pea protein isolate has demonstrated identical muscle hypertrophy results compared to whey protein, the gold standard derived from cow's milk. One landmark study, published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition, tracked 2 groups of athletes over 12 weeks. One group consumed 25 grams of pea protein daily. The other consumed the same amount of whey protein. Both groups followed identical resistance training protocols. The results? Statistically identical gains in muscle thickness, strength, and body composition. The secret? Leucine. This branched chain amino acid is the biological ignition key for muscle protein synthesis. It tells the body, build, repair, grow. And pea protein is absolutely loaded with it. In fact, pea protein isolate contains approximately 8% leucine by weight, nearly matching the leucine content of whey. But here is the kicker. Unlike whey, unlike soy, unlike gluten, pea protein is hypoallergenic. No bloating, no inflammation, No digestive warfare. Just clean, efficient, muscle-building ammunition that would make bodybuilders weep if they actually looked at the research instead of the marketing. Number 5. Tempeh, the fungal architect. Now, the exploration enters territory that will challenge what anyone thinks food even is. Indonesia, the island of Java. Centuries ago, someone made a discovery that would change nutrition forever. Controlled decay creates superior nutrition. Tempeh begins as ordinary soybeans. But here's the problem with ordinary soybeans. They are locked, bound up with phytic acid, an anti-nutrient that chemically handcuffs minerals like iron and zinc, making them unavailable to human digestion. Enter Rhizopus oligosporus. This beneficial fungus does not just sit on the beans, it invades them. White mycelium threads spread like microscopic highways, binding loose beans into a solid, sliceable block. But the real magic is chemical warfare happening at the molecular level. The mold's enzymes pre-digest the proteins. They dismantle the phytic acid. They unlock nutrients that would otherwise pass straight through the digestive system. Studies have shown that the fermentation process reduces phytic acid content by up to 90%. Simultaneously, it increases the bioavailability of iron and zinc by 2 to 3 times compared to unfermented soybeans. The result? 20 grams of protein per 100 grams, but with bioavailability that makes tofu look like cardboard. Slice it thin. Hit it with high heat. The Maillard reaction works its magic, that same chemical browning that makes steak irresistible. Tempeh does not just deliver protein, it delivers experience. Earthy, nutty, dense, satisfying. The texture is completely unique, firm enough to hold its shape when sliced, yet tender enough to absorb marinades and seasonings. This is what sustained entire civilizations in Southeast Asia, not as a compromise, as a choice. Number 4. Nutritional yeast. The umami bomb. Everything people think they know about yeast needs to be forgotten. This isn't the living organism that makes bread rise or beer ferment. This is Saccharomyces cerevisiae that's been cultivated, fed, and then deliberately killed at the peak of its nutritional value. Grown rapidly on molasses. Harvested, washed, heat deactivated. 50 grams of protein per 100 grams. Complete amino acid profile. No food combining needed. No nutritional gymnastics. But here's where it gets interesting. When those yeast cells die and their walls break down, they release glutamic acid, the same compound that triggers the tongue's umami receptors. That deep, savory, cheese-like flavor, that's not an accident. That's molecular genius. Glutamic acid is one of the most abundant amino acids in nature. It's what gives aged cheese its sharpness, tomatoes their savoriness, and mushrooms their meatiness. In nutritional yeast, it's concentrated to levels that create an intense umami explosion. 2 tablespoons deliver 8 grams of complete protein and a massive dose of B vitamins. Most commercial nutritional yeast is fortified with additional B vitamins, particularly B12. A single serving often provides several 100% of the daily recommended intake. It functions simultaneously as a protein supplement and a flavor enhancer. Sprinkle it on popcorn. Blend it into sauces. It transforms bland into crave-worthy. Nutritional yeast is proof that the most powerful foods don't just feed the body, they make it want to be fed. Number 3. Seitan. The protein ceiling. Buddhist monks in ancient China had a problem. Their spiritual doctrine demanded vegetarianism, but their bodies, especially those training in martial arts, demanded substance, density, something that could replace the muscle-building power of meat. So they engineered a solution so brilliant, so protein-dense, It remains unmatched more than a millennium later. Seitan, 75 grams of protein per 100 grams in dry form. Let that sink in. Even fully hydrated and cooked, it maintains 25 to 30 grams per 100 grams. To put this in perspective, a chicken breast delivers roughly 31 grams of protein per 100 grams. Seitan matches it. A lean beefsteak offers about 26 grams. Seitan surpasses it. This is not a plant. It is not a bean. It is an extraction. Take wheat flour. Make dough. Now wash it. Keep washing. Rinse away every molecule of starch until only one thing remains. Pure gluten protein matrix. Elastic. Fibrous. Dense. This protein network literally mimics the microscopic structure of muscle tissue. Shred it. It pulls apart like carnitas. Grill it. It gets char marks like steak. Sear it. It develops crust like chicken thigh. Yes! For those with celiac disease, this is absolute kryptonite. But for the 99% of people who digest gluten normally, Seitan represents the absolute mathematical peak of plant-based protein density. The monks did not create a meat substitute. They created something better. Number 2, spirulina, the primordial superfood. This one will make anyone rethink what food even means. Spirulina is not a plant. It is a cyanobacterium, a microscopic blue-green algae that thrives in alkaline lakes so hostile, almost nothing else survives. 57 to 60 grams of protein per 100 grams. Complete amino acid profile. Immediately bioavailable. The Aztecs knew. They harvested it from Lake Texcoco, dried it into dense cakes called tequitlatl, and fed it to their elite warriors and long-distance runners. Fast forward to the 1970s. NASA scientists are studying food for Mars missions. They needed something that grows rapidly, requires minimal resources, delivers maximum nutrition, and can be cultivated in space. They chose spirulina. The math was compelling. Spirulina doubles its biomass every 2 to 5 days under optimal conditions. It requires only sunlight, water, and dissolved minerals. 1 kilogram of spirulina provides the protein equivalent of roughly 3 kilograms of beef, but can be grown in a fraction of the space, using a fraction of the water in a fraction of the time. But the protein is just the opening act. Hidden inside this aquatic organism is phycocyanin, a blue pigment protein complex with documented anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. This is food that does not just fuel the body. It protects it at the cellular level. Nobody eats it by the spoonful. Blended into smoothies, pressed into bars, stirred into liquids, spirulina is the closest thing that exists to concentrated life force. Number 1. Lupin Beans, the Mediterranean secret. The top of the list has arrived. Most people have never even heard of it. While the world has been eating chickpeas and black beans, there has been a legume quietly outperforming every protein source in the average pantry. Lupin Beans, 36 grams of protein per 100 grams. That matches or exceeds chicken, pork, and most cuts of beef. But here's what makes lupins alien compared to other legumes. Zero starch. When you analyze the macronutrient breakdown, something remarkable emerges. Roughly 40% protein, approximately 40% fiber, nearly 10% healthy fats, and less than 5% carbohydrates, with virtually zero starch. While chickpeas are carb bombs and lentils are starch heavy, lupins are pure protein and prebiotic fiber. It is like nature designed a legume specifically for low-carb, high-protein nutrition. The Romans knew. They fed lupins to soldiers marching across Europe. Light to carry, dense with energy, perfect for muscle maintenance. For centuries, there was one problem: bitter alkaloids. These natural defense compounds made wild lupins toxic. The beans required weeks of soaking to neutralize them. Then, modern agriculture solved it. Sweet varieties were cultivated to eliminate the bitterness. No soaking, no waiting. Crush them into flakes. Grind them into flour. Pickle them for snacks. Lupins are the most efficient carb-free protein delivery system nature has ever produced, and they have been hiding in Mediterranean cuisine for thousands of years. The final truth. The belief that meat is required for protein isn't just wrong. It's backwards. Every animal ever consumed for protein got that protein from plants. They were just the expensive, resource-intensive, environmentally destructive middlemen. From ancient Indonesian fermentation to NASA's space program. From Roman legions to modern bodybuilders. From monastery kitchens to isolation laboratories. The evidence is overwhelming. The math is undeniable. Plants don't just compete with animal protein, they surpass it. Higher density, superior bioavailability, a fraction of the resources. This isn't about converting anyone to anything. This is about the data. And once the numbers are seen, they cannot be unseen. This is botanical bounty. The goal isn't telling anyone what to eat. It's showing what's possible. Subscribe, because the science of nutrition is evolving faster than any grocery store can keep up. And understanding it changes everything.